Evening class. This is Leslie Burnett. I hope you guys are having a great time. I'm going to do my presentation on our theorists this evening. The theorist that I was selected to do was Professor Michael Apple. He is the Professor of Curriculum and Instruction and Educational Policy at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. He's a Wisconsin Badger. Professor Apple is a John Baskin Professor of Curriculum and Instruction and Educational Policy Studies. He teaches courses in curriculum theory and research and in the sociology of curriculum. His major interests lie in the relationship between culture and power in education. A lot of the articles that I have read on him are very anti-conservative government approaches to education. He seems to be pushing the marketability of education, and he has some very radical viewpoints. I was a little taken aback. We're not used to that kind of language in some of his research, but it was interesting and certainly worth the read. Some of his recent publications include The Education Markets and an Adult Cult and an Audit Culture, The Conservative Alliance Building an African American Support of Vouchers, The Creating Difference, Neoliberalism, Neoconservatism, and the Politics of Educational Reform. This is the article that I read, and basically what he's saying is after generations and generations of educational conservative reform, we haven't gone anywhere. As a matter of fact, we've probably gone backwards, and he's proposing new ideology in educational reform. Some more of the publications that he has done are The State and the Politics of Education, Educating the Right Way, Market Standards, God and Inequality, Official Knowledge, Democratic Knowledge in a Conservative Age, Cultural Politics and Education, Education and Power, Ideology and Curriculum. He really associates government power with the curriculum and the mode of education that our country is endorsing right now. He really aligns that political agenda with public education. One of the reviews of one of his books stated the following, which I found an interesting summation of kind of his thinking. The core of Apple's thesis in educating the right way is that the educational policies promoted by a coalition of rightist groups, the forces of conservative modernization, as he calls them, bring with them myriad and dire unintended consequences, which, if left unchecked, threaten to all but destroy public education in this country. More broadly, Apple argues that the political right has successfully convinced Americans that, for varied and sometimes contradictory reasons, we can improve our schools by opening them to the healthy competition of the free market. Dr. Apple contends that this is not a free and equal society and that there are built-in systems of prejudice and unjustness. His personal view, his interpretation of his works. In a number of volumes over the past decade, I have critically analyzed the processes of conservative modernization, the complicated alliance behind the wave after wave of educational reforms that have centered around neoliberal commitments to the market and a supposedly weak state, neoconservative emphasis on stronger control over curricula and values, and new managerial proposals to install rigorous reforms of accountability in schooling at all levels. currently he is working on research that centers on the limits and possibilities of critical educational policy and practice in a time of conservative restoration. Now, obviously, this may be a year or two old in when it was written, so I would like to know what his extremely current works are now that we're not in a conservative policy with our educational stance right now. For further information on Dr. Apple, this is his contact information at the University of Wisconsin. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope you guys have a great evening, and I will miss you all.